Good evening, everybody. This is What Does the Bible Say? My name is Caleb Robertson. I am an evangelist with the Danville Church of Christ that meets at 120 American Legion Boulevard in Danville, Virginia, right off of North Main. And collectively, we work beside the Martinsville Church of Christ that meets at 823 Starling Avenue. If you're new to this broadcast and you're not familiar with the Church of Christ, it is a non-denominational group. And when we say non-denominational, you don't start saying, well, they're just a community church. No, we are against denominationalism. We're trying to put a stop to denominationalism. I'm trying to put a stop to the community church also. The reason being is because they just let everything slide in, everything gets swept under the rug. You're not going to help people that way. This is a live call-in religious broadcast. At some point in the show tonight where you see that little banner, What Does the Bible Say? We're going to put some phone lines up. You can call in tonight. You can talk to us about the discussion points that we're having tonight. We are talking about the Catholic denomination. Not a lot of Catholics around here, but boy, they're in some trouble. They're in hot water right now. Why? Because they actually have a cardinal who since 1997 is being accused, and all the way back from 1997 has been being accused of all manner of sexual predatory actions, and that's what they're dealing with right now. And you might say, well, that's not news. That was happening up in Boston years ago, and they had the huge exposure of it. It's awful. We hate that it's happening. We wish that it didn't happen, but we really have to say the only way that we're going to fix that and prevent it from happening again is if we completely eradicate the Catholic denomination. Somebody say, boy, eradicate? What do you think we're doing here? Let's look at the Bible. Let's look at Acts 17 together. Let's look at verse number 16. This is Paul. He goes to Athens, and I'm saying that these Athenians are going to be just as bad as modern-day Catholics. Now, while Paul waited for them at Athens, his spirit was stirred in him when he saw the city wholly given to idolatry. Catholics? Idolatry? I was eating dinner with a Catholic man one time. He said, Caleb, do you know how to sell? He said, if when you get a house and you want to sell it, do you know how to sell your house? I said, no, I don't. He said, what you do is you get a little figurine of the Catholic St. Joseph, you go out in your front yard, you bury him beside your realtor sign, but you make sure that he's facing your house. He said, that'll sell your house. I said, oh, how about that? Catholicism is filled with idolatry. All these different, you got the little prayer beads, you got all these different other things that they have that always you have to have some type of physical entity attached to what they're doing. Look at this. He says, given to idolatry. Therefore disputed he in the synagogue with the Jews and with the devout persons in the market daily with them that met with him. Then certain philosophers of the Epicureans and of the Stoics encountered him and said, what will this babbler say? And others some he seemeth to be a setter forth of strange gods, because he preached unto them Jesus and the resurrection. And they took him and brought him to Areopagus, saying, May we know what this new doctrine whereof thou speakest is. Now look at this. For thou bringest certain strange things to our ears. You're going to hear some stuff tonight, and you're going to say, that sounds strange. It's new to you. But y'all, I am preaching out of the King James Bible. We're going to have the Bible on the screen. I'm not trying to pull wool over your eyes. I want to be honest with you. I want you to have the truth. And I want you to come out from underneath your denominational preacher's thumb. Pastor says, you need to stop saying that. You need to say the Bible says, and we're following the Bible. Look at this. It might sound strange to you, but if it's in the Bible, you just got to mark it down. Hey, we didn't know any better. You bring strange things to our ears. Now look what he says. This is what we really want to jump to, verse number 22. Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill and said, Ye men of Athens, I perceive that in all things you are too superstitious, and that is Catholicism. It's a lot of denominationalism. It's Pentecostalism. It's the apostolics. It's really across the board. Individuals are not following the Bible. They are following, in fact, superstition. Now, tonight, you're getting a taste. Look at this. Live new footage. That's me and Mark White, the Catholic priest from Martinsville in Rocky Mount, Virginia. The Catholic Church is so small around here, so minuscule, and really just ineffective that they can only have one priest in the area. We go, we talk to him face to face. He knows exactly who we are. He sees me sitting in the lobby, and he just beams right into his office, down the hallway in his office. I'm following him down the hallway to the office. Hello, Mr. Mark White, we'd like to talk to you. They are on the run. Why am I saying this right now? My brethren, you can go out, you can talk to anybody. You are within your rights. People talk about obey the laws of the land. Number one, that's not even what Romans 13 says. You are within your rights. Don't let these people come down on you and saying, I just don't know if that's the best approach. Ask them, what's the best approach then to expose false doctrine? Is Catholicism false doctrine? Yes. Do we want to wipe it out of the community? Absolutely. Now you tell me how we're going to do it without getting these people promoting their false doctrine on tape. He had a room full of people. They don't have a clue what he's saying. Dude's praying in Latin. Stick with me tonight. Can I start out by saying this with you? We like to say this, be encouraged. Let's play some footage that we got this past Thursday night on What Does the Bible Say? Listen to this man. He called in from Alabama. We're doing the show in Virginia. This man is not a member of the church. He calls in from Alabama. Listen to what he says.
I put you on hold and my producer get your phone number and your email address? Okay, because we'd love to talk with you. I mean, like you said, this said honest call. I'm not trying to stump you guys. We're very glad to hear from you.
Yeah, well, we've got several churches of Christ here locally, but you guys are the only one popping the whip. So, I think this varies from congregation to congregation.
Very glad to hear from you.
Yeah, well, we've got several churches of Christ here locally, but you guys are the only one popping the whip.
Now you have a man who's watching What Does the Bible Say from Alabama, and he is saying where he lives just outside of Montgomery, Alabama, he says there are churches of Christ around here, but nobody's popping the whip. Now, somebody says, oh, that's exactly what Caleb wanted to hear, popping the whip. Don't you know that all he is saying is Philippians 2:15 through 16? He is saying that we are holding the truth. That's all he's saying. Popping the whip. We're defending the truth. We are saying, hey, the Bible says this, you're going against it. So, we went, a friend of ours was taking me and Micah to ride horses. This was like some ranch. This was not any horses that we knew, and somebody asked us, they said, they're fixing to put us on a horse. They said, what's your horse riding experience? Micah says, we break horses. And I'm thinking, Johnny breaks horses. We watch Johnny break horses. They put us on the two biggest studs that this place had, and then me and Micah are stuck for the rest of the time. When Dad was working with horses, you know what we like to do? And the point I'm making here is just real easy. Popping the whip. Man, I was a kid. I'm having as much fun just popping the whip, popping the whip. There really is not too much effort in this. I got to tell you. And really, the idea that people have, there are a lot of people that think we're just trying to tell folk off. We're not. You don't just go out and work with horses by popping a whip. You have to spend a lot of time. You have to wear yourself out, and you got to wear that horse out too, don't you? And that's what you're going to have to do with denominational folk. You're going to have to wear them out. And boy, will they try to wear you out. Me and Ian were studying with two apostolic gentlemen, and instead of making their point, point by point, they said, let's read the whole 10th chapter of Acts. I love Acts chapter 10, but you don't need all of it. I know what you want. It's in about verse number 38 through 43. Just go there. We are working with people. We are upholding the truth. And my encouragement to you is you can do this, holding forth the word of life. Philippians 2:15 and 16. And the only thing that's stopping you are unfaithful members of the church. It is just, listen, look at this. I got to say it. You know I don't mean anything bad by this. But if these parents, John 9:22, these words spake his parents because they feared the Jews, for the Jews had already agreed that if any man did confess that he was Christ, he should be put out of the synagogue. Your elder, who is a member of the school board, who's the school superintendent, who's on the city council, who's the biggest, whatever, he's got the biggest business in town in particular to whatever that is. He's got the biggest landscaping business in town. Whatever it is. They don't want the community mad at them, so they shut you down. And you've just got to say, I'm following God here, not you. You don't follow unfaithful elders. And you know what? The elder's wife is not in office. I'm not taking anything off of an elder's wife. And I told when we went to the second school, I told the school director, I don't need to hear from your secretary. The school's got a director and it ain't the secretary. The elder's wife is not the elder, and she does not tell the preacher how to evangelize. I'm trying to help you. I'm not trying to step on anybody. I'm trying to help you because I know you're getting weighed down. You can do this. You can go into any Athens you want to, just like Paul did. You will be surrounded by people who are eyeballing you, and you may not have a helping hand, but I tell you what, you've got a helping hand in Martinsville and Danville, Virginia. We will back you. We will support you. We will try to encourage you. We will try to send you material as you need it. We'll help you jump through hoops as far as law goes. You can do this. And I hope that you are encouraged to realize souls are on the line, the battle is on the line, and we're out here to win. That's what we're here to do. We are here to win this battle, not just keep the church grounds. I appreciate people who do keep up the building, but if that's our job, you think that's our job, you are mistaken. Oh man, look at this. We got folk down in Alabama. Let's hear it one more time.
So, you know, sure.
Okay, because we'd love to talk with you. I mean, like you said, this said honest call. I'm not trying to stump you guys. We're very glad to hear from you.
Yeah, well, we've got several churches of Christ here locally, but you guys are the only one popping the whip. So, you know.
Just defending the truth. That's a person outside the body of Christ calling from Alabama. He says, well, the churches of Christ in Alabama, they're not popping that whip. Can I tell you what the churches of Christ in Alabama, some of them are doing? 1 Corinthians 5. Paul says it's commonly reported. Can somebody give me a number? How many times do I need to hear this story before I can say that it is commonly reported and it's coming from this man? Allen Webster, Alabama. He's the head of House to House, Heart to Heart. We have multiple people saying that Allen is spreading this story and it is not true. And it just, for the life of me, it doesn't make sense that we get non-Christians all the way from Alabama watching a show in Virginia by their own mouth say the Church of Christ in Alabama is not doing the work, it's not popping the whip, it's not upholding the doctrine. Look at this. Allen Webster, for multiple people, are saying this is the story that they're hearing. Caleb and Micah went to PTP, set up a booth or a tent, and picketed PTP until they had to be removed from the grounds by the authorities. I'm saying to you, when do we get to say this is commonly reported that this false information is being spread about us? And we're saying it keeps coming from this source. Why would he say that? But here's the thing, when you hear somebody say that about me, and listen y'all, I had somebody talking to me about a brother the other day. He called me on the phone, first thing out of my mouth, where's your evidence? Stop listening to this story, this false, made up, fabricated story and say, where are the photos? Man, if you had me and Micah picketing, where are your photos? If you've got us actually removed by authorities, were we arrested? Where are your photos of us actually in handcuffs? Where are your photos of us talking to the police? I don't understand why brethren continue to act like this form of evangelism does not work. An Alabama man calls in and says the churches of Christ around here aren't doing anything, and he's watching a Bible broadcast from Virginia. And I'm not just trying to make all the work come out of Virginia. I want you to do this type of evangelism, which is New Testament evangelism, where you are. Can I talk to you about this some more? Where are the photos? Why is Allen Webster telling folk that this is what happened, that Micah and Caleb set up a booth or a tent and had to be removed by the authorities? Where are the photos? And what number, how many more times do I have to hear it and hear that it formulated from Allen Webster before we just say, okay, Allen Webster's doing it? And explain to me why he would even say that. Why not take care of the actual bad fellowship, unscriptural fellowship that's happening at PTP instead of making up false information about me and Micah? Can I tell you what the reality is? The reality is what is that, Sevierville? I don't know where it is. Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, look at this. We did not set up on the premises of PTP. We were blocks away. We were in an open lot, and here's the thing. We didn't break the law. We're operating within the realms of the law. We had permission by the property owner to be there. Look at this. This is what I'm saying. Here is the reality, and here are the photos. Where's the photos of me and Micah being escorted off by the authorities? Here are the real photos. This individual's car, and I've got more photos. This individual who was eating at this particular restaurant sees the banner for ptperror.com. These are from a surveillance system at the restaurant. He pulls up. You see this individual here? And I'll get out of your way. You see, I think I got back in the way. This individual, gray pants, white shirt, gets out of his car, goes over and takes down our banner. That is theft. He broke the law. We didn't break the law. And we didn't get escorted off anything either. We had the rights from the government. We had permission from the property owner. We weren't doing anything wrong. This man, depending on the cost of our property that he stole, this could be a felony offense. And you might be saying, well, Caleb, that's not a very good photo. Hey, don't you know I have a photo of this guy walking into the restaurant? And don't you know I talked and have emails and texts with the restaurant staff who said these are PTP members? You say, how do you know they're PTP members? They're walking around town with their name badges on, PTP. And the restaurant was so appalled at this that they even said, hey man, we'll run this dude's credit card receipts. Here's the thing, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in taking this individual to court. I'm interested in cleaning up the error that is unscriptural fellowship over at PTP. We've had people from Freed Hardeman that are saying right now, sue them, sue the Robertsons. Hey, if we wanted to, we could get this guy. That's not what we're doing. But I'm asking the question, when you start hearing people make stuff up about us, why don't you just ask them, where's the proof? Where are your photos of Mike and Caleb being removed by the authorities? Where's your photo of their booth or their tent, what have you? This just sat out by the highway and people Googled it. I don't get it. I don't get why individuals in Alabama who are not in the church are calling saying, hey, we appreciate what you're doing. And then some of my own brethren are actually spreading false information. You can contact Allen Webster and you can ask him about it. You can ask him if he said it, and if he tells you that he didn't say it, then you and I can begin to go down a list of individuals who have heard that same story, and you just tell all these individuals from different states that they're liars. Hey, let's do it. I had a guy call me from Florida. He said, a brother just said that you worship with instrumental music. I said, dude, you know I don't worship with instrumental music. I said, who told you that? Had to go a little bit back and forth. He doesn't want to tell me who told him. I said, look, dude, that guy's saying I'm sinning over here. I need to know who it is. How is it that false information is getting to be spread? We don't do that. We always have the proof. And I'm saying tonight we can do better than this. I would love for us to fix these problems. We all get to work together after some repentance takes place, and we go out and we win the battle against denominationalism. Win it. You might say, well, denominationalism is always going to be here. Liberalism always going to be here. Hey, I'm not always going to be here, but I guarantee you while I'm here, we're going to win this. We are going to overtake it. With or without Allen Webster, I don't know. I wish he would stop that. I don't know why he's doing it. Are you with me? You might be saying, that kind of hurt me. Hey, I don't like it any more than you do. But we got to get past this. We've got to get on the same page and recognize that denominations are actually looking at us and they're saying they're not what they used to be. Denominations used to be afraid, terrified of the Church of Christ, and in this area they are. But where you are, they probably don't know the difference between you and the Christian church and whoever else. Probably hadn't even heard of you. That's a problem. Now, let's shift. That was a segment. Let's shift into another segment. Can I say this to you? We already have individuals from 8 different states that are planning to come to this tent meeting, and we want to invite you. One moment. Okay, already, thank you. Already getting emails, or getting texts. I'll be contacting Allen Webster to find out, get to the bottom of this. Thank you, that's what we need to do. And I'm saying at what point, what's the number for commonly reported, because we've been hearing it a lot. Encourage you. 8 states are coming to Virginia, North Carolina area to participate in this tent meeting, 2-week tent meeting from June 15th through the 26th. Young guy from Montana, he's a brother, he contacted me the other day, said, I got my plane ticket ready. We got young men coming from different places. They've got the energy, They're going to come in and pour it into this area, and we are going to evangelize, and we want you to be a part of it. Look at this. Door knocking, this is how the schedule is going to go. Door knocking 9 in the morning till about noon. We all get together. We have lunch together. We're planning on having 2 p.m. classes in the afternoon to discuss and study hermeneutics together. We want to keep you busy, right? You're going to be doing a lot of work. We want you to come. Don't let that scare you. And then you come back at 7 o'clock at night and have preaching. And I'm saying, I got some young preacher friends out there, and if you're watching this show, we would be interested in you coming up here and helping us host extra TV time. You could come up, we host the show together, you get some TV experience, you see how all this is done, the ins and outs of it, and you take it back home and you do it. You spread the truth and you wear out denominations. Why not? And somebody says, you wearing them out? We're saving these folk. That's what we're doing. That man called from Alabama realizing he needs to be baptized in order to be saved. We're fixing to get into some Catholic doctrine tonight. There shouldn't be any Catholics in this area. Shouldn't be Catholics anywhere. You know why? Because there's not a Catholic in this book. There's not a Catholic denomination in the Bible. And that's really what we're getting at tonight. This show is called What Does the Bible Say? Why would you be in a denomination that's not written about in the Bible? There's a church in this book, and it goes all the way through the book of Acts, and every epistle that you read from Peter, Paul, James, or John is going to be linked back to that one church in the book of Acts. There's not a Baptist church in here. There's not any type of man-made denomination. There is no division in here. Someone says, well, they had problems back then. I know they had problems back then, but they didn't start a whole separate church about it. That's the issue we're dealing with here. You and I can deal with our problems. How? We sit down, we study the Word together. We got these divisions going on, and I'm willing to talk to people, but when I talk to them, they say, nope, Caleb, we're not going to change your mind. That's your inability. These denominational preachers are just as lazy as all get out. They don't know the book. They don't study. They don't know how to form arguments. I would love to get to have conversation with young guys who are from denominations, and this station owner says, Caleb, they're not going to talk to you. And he said, because every time they talk to you, they come out not looking good. That's their denomination. That's their man-made doctrine. It's not just, boy, I'm a bad dude. That's not what this is. Look at this. Are you with me? Are you making plans? Contact with me. Someone already said, well, if we fly in, where do we need to fly into? Greensboro or Raleigh-Durham? Somebody will pick you up. We can make all manner of plans. We want you to be here so that you can be practicing evangelism. You can go through these classes with us. You can be involved in the preaching. When we set up Bible studies during this, you can be going out and having these Bible studies with us. We want you here so that you can get the experience and take it back home where you are recreated. This is what we want to do. We want to work. We want to work with you. Now, here's what's happening locally. The town is praising the Catholic denomination, the Catholic priest, because he is exposing the cardinal who ordained him to be a priest is being big time hit since 1997 with sexual allegations. Predatory, weird stuff. And he's coming out and he's saying the Catholic Church needs to fix this. He's even calling for the Pope to resign. And here's what I can't figure out. There are people in town, they're writing letters to the editor. This man's name is Mark White, and they're all saying, good job, Mark White. Mark White is a part of the problem. And here's what I mean. Let's listen to Mark White.
Go ahead, Mike. The thing I would like to offer to you, you know we have the television.
Taping this?
I'm taping this, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And
Are
we have the
you
television.
taping this?
I'm taping this, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Television.
Taping this?
I'm taping this, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
No disrespect, y'all secretaries ain't nothing to me. They're not the law. They're not the priest. I don't know why y'all sick y'all secretaries on me. And I do know why, because the men that are in charge of these denominations, they don't have a spine. That's why. Get your secretaries all over me. What in the world?
And you can go ahead, Mike.
And you might be saying, Caleb, why are you saying that? Because y'all prop this guy up to be this man of God. He comes out wearing his collar and his big green robe. That ain't nothing. He can't even talk to me. He's got a secretary saying, are you taping this? Absolutely.
We have the TV broadcast. Would you be willing to come on and you actually get to, online, get to present all of your
Why don't you let me think about that?
Okay.
I appreciate your offering that. Let me think that over and I'll get back in touch with you.
Can I ask you just a few questions about these quotations?
you're calling.
Now's not the time.
Yeah, you begged for the Pope to resign, and you called that an act of love.
Now's not the time for us to talk about this, Caleb. I appreciate you stopping in, but I've
why
got a
is
lot
this
of
not the
things I
time?
got to do. I got a lot of things I got to do today.
Okay, so I mean,
I'll be back in touch with you about coming on the show.
Okay. You got a card, Micah?
I don't.
Can I write this down for you?
I know how to get in touch with you.
Okay. So
Okay.
I couldn't get your blog.
Right, nobody can.
Yeah. So are you going to continue to keep that silent?
Like I said, I'm going to obey my bishop.
Okay. So if you actually obey your bishop and keep your blog silent, are you not going to become just as much a part of the problem?
Let's talk about this some other time, Caleb.
Okay. When is another time?
I'll get in touch with you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. He's been doing all this exposure of his own Catholic denomination on his particular personal blog. The bishop above him said, Mark, you got to shut your blog down. And he shut it down. You got all these sexual predators in the hierarchy of the Catholic denomination. He's trying to expose it. And when the sexual predators say, stop exposing us, he says, yes, sir. You are part of the problem. Someone says, do you appreciate what he's doing? Not really, because he's not going hard enough. He needs to tear apart the structure and foundation of the Catholic denomination. You're never going to, let's hit it, right? You're never going to fix the problem, and here's why. There is no Catholic Church in the Bible. There is no Pope system in the Bible. The way that they structure their cardinals, their priests, and their bishop, the way that they have their headquarters in Rome, none of that is biblical. But look at 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse number 3. There is not anything inherently holy about lifelong celibacy. You say, are you saying we can have sex outside of marriage? No, that's fornication. Hebrews 13:4 says, let's look at it before we come back over here. I want you to see it. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. Look what it just said. Marriage is honorable. You can't take this verse and